Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Amy Wolf, as we've established. Today's program explores a concept that may sound a little surprising at first: Swedish death cleaning. Despite the dramatic name, this practice is really about living thoughtfully, simplifying our surroundings, and making intentional choices about the things we keep in our lives. Guiding us through this thoughtful and often empowering process is professional organizer Stephanie Radman. Stephanie works with individuals and families to create more functional, peaceful living spaces with compassion, practical strategies, and a deep understanding of how personal our belongings can be. She helps people navigate the sometimes emotional task of decluttering and organizing their lives. In today's program, Stephanie will introduce the principles behind Swedish death cleaning, share practical tips for getting started, and help us think about our possessions in a new way, one that focuses on intention, clarity, and what truly matters. Please join me in welcoming professional organizer Stephanie Radman.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy, for having me today, and I'm thrilled to be with you all on this beautiful spring morning. My name is Stephanie Radman, and I'm the founder of Mayflower Home Organizing, and we're going to talk about the art of Swedish death cleaning. So a little bit about myself. I founded the business in 2020. I'm a mom to 3 young adults. 2 are off the payroll. Yay, parents. Born and raised in Southwestern Connecticut. And in fact, I did spend summers near to you all in Dennis, Massachusetts. I had a great uncle who had a lovely antique home. So we spent 2 weeks at his very small guest cottage. So I'm very familiar with the Dennis area. But I love the Cape. It's so beautiful. I'm happy to be here today. I'm a lifelong volunteer. I love to give back to the community. And I have a lot of hobbies. And of course, at a library, I have to put reading in there. It would be sacrilegious if I didn't. So welcome, welcome. A little bit about my history. Come from a long line of organized people. This is a letter. My mom was a first grade teacher. And when she was pregnant with me, this is one of her letters from one of her students. Dear Mrs. Dick, I'm glad you had a baby girl. Our field trip was nice. We saw animals. Miss Durrell is very nice. Sometimes we are bad. So my whole family is very organized. My mom still has the 21 letters from her students. I'm 55 from 1970 when she was pregnant with me. So I come from a long line of people who like to be organized. One other take about my history. Now we fast forward to 1988, where I'm a senior at Stanford High School in Stanford, Connecticut. This was my spreadsheet of all my clothes. Now, I didn't have a lot of clothes. I'm not saying that, but I tried not to repeat things until at least 2 weeks had gone by. I didn't have a lot of clothes, but I said, okay, the acid wash jeans with the black sweatshirt, I wore that 2 weeks ago. Can't wear it again yet. So needless to say, I've always been organized. Maybe too much so. So a quick overview for this morning. We're going to talk about, of course, what is Swedish death cleaning. We'll discuss some fast facts, examples of all of our common pain points. We'll discuss the Swedish death cleaning process, some of the benefits of it, a 3-step process, and then we'll end upon a couple of our quick misadventures in the home organizing world. You might imagine we've seen it all. From cockroaches to mice droppings, we've seen a lot. And the good fun things too, like the Hermes bags. From high to low, we cover all the bases. And of course, we'll have time for Q&A. And truly, if anyone has any questions or comments, please feel free to raise your hand throughout the presentation. I found this in a magazine. I love this. Boomer parents, one day this will all be yours. And the grown children say, no, we don't want all the china. And funny enough, here is my sideboard in our dining room. And what do I have on the lower shelf? 3 sets of fine china. I'm the oldest daughter, so I have both grandmothers. And knowing I was going to get both grandmothers, why did we buy our own when we got engaged? Needless to say, we have 3 sets. So you're not alone. Even the home organizer has too much stuff. This is a no judgment zone. So like I said, please, no judging here. And there's not a bad question. So please feel free to ask anything. What is Swedish death cleaning? It's really, as you might imagine, rooted in the Swedish culture. The word is döstädning, which combines the Swedish words for death plus the word for cleaning. And it's really a mindful decluttering philosophy focused on reducing the burden really on our loved ones and also ourselves. And it's about, as Amy mentioned, living more intentionally. And I know the word death in there is a little bit, well, it's really not morbid. It is practical and thoughtful. And truly, it's a gift you give not only yourself, but your family. And it also emphasizes simplicity and responsibility. Some fast facts, which you might be aware of, only 20% of the things that we own are actually used. It's kind of scary. Almost 4,000 hours in our lifetimes are spent. Where are those missing keys? Honey, where are the keys? I don't know. Do you have them? And you might see even down where we are in Connecticut, everyone's building these storage facilities. I'm sure they're building them in the Cape as well. Because why? We all have too much stuff. And they're quite expensive too if you have to store, I don't know if you have to store things, but they're not cheap. 25 people have 2-car garages, but a third only have room for 1 car. What's in the garages? Who knows? Or outdoor furniture right now, maybe. The average American does throw away almost 65 pounds of clothing, which is shocking. A quarter of Americans actually admit to paying bills late simply because they lose them. And 1 in 7 Americans have a room in their home that they simply cannot use. There's too many things in there. So truly, almost all of us at one point or another kind of are grappling with the anxiety, a little bit of stress, thinking about all the clutter that we have. So it really affects everyone, truly. And these are examples of some of our common pain points. Here's an example of a closet. Anyone have a closet that looks like this? That's a little bit scary. This is a client that we have in New Jersey, and she's actually a famous artist. And anytime she goes away, she just can't even unpack her clothes. So this is an example. Many people have, too many clothes in 3 different sizes. I do too. So we all have those, that kind of common pain point. Another example, we all have the junk drawer. But this one I love, as you can see in the middle, you reach in for a battery, mice trap. Oops, you might get a little bit of a surprise there with a mice trap in the middle. And of course, we have our COVID mask in here. A lot of us have those junk drawers. We have to go through and declutter and edit. Repairs. Who here has things in their home that they've been saving for years? And true story, this is our home, my husband's workshop. We love antiques like many of you do. This is an antique pine stool that really is more for aesthetics than for function, as we found out when a gentleman friend of ours fell off the stool as it collapsed underneath him. And it's been at least 5 years. And my husband, who's wonderful, you can see, hasn't been repaired yet. So like many of us, we have that frame with the glass that's broken. It's just sitting in our basement. Will you get it fixed? If it's been a while, we have to make those decisions. The old kitchen tool drawer, we all have that. And I love this one with a potato masher right in the middle. That it's always too high. It kind of jams up the drawer. One more of our problem areas that many of us have to go through. And hobbies. How many of us have hobbies? Like you want to start needle pointing or knitting, and you buy all the accoutrements, you buy all the yarn, and you end up just putting it in a bin and you never get to it. So a lot of us have to deal with that as well. And basement. Now this is a little bit scary, I have to admit. This is a basement that we organized. And at first I was almost going to put it in reverse and say, you know what, this is too much. Maybe we can't tackle it. But we did do it. And I think we have some pictures of the afterwards. But again, many of us have our garages and our basements, just too much stuff. And oftentimes it's overwhelming for us to think about how we're going to tackle it. And again, here's that garage. Certainly a car is not going to fit in here because we have a refrigerator box. Bookshelves are in there. The entire garage is filled with stuff. So just one more example of many of our common pain points. And then here's me in the attic. This was a home in New Jersey. Beautiful couple, married 55 years, God bless. They're in their 90s. Both parents passed. We help the adult children go through the parents' home. And we actually were at this home, a gorgeous Tudor. in Rumson, New Jersey, for about, I think it was 8 weeks. So we actually stayed there because no one was living at the home. So we worked with the adult children to go through the parents' belongings, and it was a beautiful time that we had. But like many of us, we had, they were saving National Geographic, Time Magazine, Old Town and Country magazines, thinking they would be valuable and maybe perhaps they could sell them. But in the end, it was valuable to the mice that were using it as their home. So that's like many of us, the attics and garages, we have to get through it all. A lot of keepsakes in there. So why does Swedish death cleaning matter, really? Because it helps reduce the stress and the feeling of being overwhelmed. It also is helpful going through these keepsakes, as we just said. It encourages reflection on what truly matters. Are you saving your children's report cards, or in my case, my father's report cards, which are up in my attic? Think about making these decisions, and it really helps our loved ones so they don't have to make these decisions later on. So it's very, very valuable, why it matters to us. And some of the core principles of the Swedish death cleaning, again, focusing on what is meaningful out of all your possessions. What is meaningful? What do you not need anymore? Prioritize function and joy. What's that Marie Kondo, that home organizer says, only keep what brings you joy. It's a great thing to think about. Letting go of excess. Do you have, 10 black sweaters? Do you need 10 black sweaters? Maybe we can get rid of a few. It's also a core principle, handling your own belongings so that others do not have to do that, and really make decisions proactively, avoiding leaving decisions to other people. And again, considering all the sentimental value, your children's artwork, your grandchildren's artwork, important things like that. And again, communicating with your family as you go through these things and sharing stories is very, very valuable, which is a lot of fun to go through. And who is Swedish death cleaning for? Traditionally, ages 50 and over, but truly, it's really helpful at any life stage, even for younger people. Of course, ideal during transitions. If you're moving from one home, maybe downsizing, it's great during that time, but really, it's good to do it at any time. We encourage it. And some common misconceptions about Swedish death cleaning. It's not, don't get scared about it. It's not about getting rid of everything that you have. No one's going to say, you have to throw away everything or donate everything. It's really, it's not depressing. It's not sad. And also it's not only for, like I said, it's not only for older adults. All of us can benefit from it, really. So who can say some of the benefits of Swedish death cleaning? Anyone have any ideas of why it's helpful? There's many reasons why it's helpful. Greater clarity, a more peaceful home. Of course, we all know when things are in order in our homes, it makes you more zen, more calm. It gives you a stronger sense of control. When you go down to your basement and you see that disaster that was in that previous picture, you can feel some anxiety or feelings of overwhelming. So it really creates closure. Swedish death cleaning encourages gratitude for what you have, and really it simplifies your daily life. After you go through the process, you really will feel lighter for sure. As we said, it helps with moves and transition times. And again, it really saves on that family time. We don't want to burden other people in our family and even our friends for sure. So when do you want to start Swedish death cleaning? Anytime, really. You can do it after the children leave the home, like our children have just left the home. You can do it during retirement planning, during a downsizing time, really any time that you feel ready to do it. There's really no bad time to start Swedish death cleaning. And really, here we go to get started on how do you do it? You may say, Stephanie, where do we even begin? We have a whole house or a whole apartment or a whole condo. Some people get paralyzed. They just are scared. It's overwhelming. What should I do? So I really like to say, start small, pace yourself. Like I said, that picture of that scary basement, after we leave here today, you're like, okay, let me go down to that basement. I'll spend all day, the rest of today and tomorrow tackling it. But are you really, when you really think about it, are you going to spend 2 days right now getting down to your basement? It's a little overwhelming. So I say, set like a time period. Maybe I'll say do 2 hours every Saturday morning, if you work, or maybe 2 hours on a Friday morning, and just start small. And then that will help you set realistic goals, because like with anything that we do in life, if you're going to overwhelm yourself, you may, after an hour, say, forget it, it's too much, and just stop the process completely. So it's really good and helpful to pace yourself for sure. And as you're going through your things, here's some of the questions you want to ask yourself. Do I need this? Do I really use this? Does this add value to my life? Marie Kondo, does it bring me joy? Or you might say, does someone else benefit from this? Oftentimes we have people in that kitchen utensil drawer and they have 3 lemon presses. Well, certainly we don't need 3 lemon presses. We only need 1. So these are the questions to ask yourself as you go through your own homes. And there's many reasons why it's hard for all of us to let go. Can anyone in the audience think about why is it hard for us to make these decisions? Anyone have any guess? Yes. Exactly. I may need it someday. I may want those 3 lemon presses someday. Yes.
Might want it.
Exactly. Those kids, like all of our antique brown furniture, these kids, no one wants that brown furniture anymore. Oh my gosh. So that's another great reason. Excellent answers. Sentimental, lack of time. We just don't have the time. Someone in the family may want to have it. We're waste aversion. We don't want to just get rid of I don't want to get rid of that nice chair. Someone may use that. I spent good money on that chair. All of us, I'm very frugal personally. I spent good money on this blazer. I don't want to just get rid of it because I spent money on it. And of course, Mother Earth, we don't want to put those 65 pounds of clothes into the landfill because we don't want to get, Mother Earth full of stuff. So there's many, many reasons, and it affects all of us. All of these reasons are why it's hard for us to go through our possessions for sure. Talk about handling sentimental items. We all have sentimental items, right? So we're storing, whether it be our parents' report cards like I have, don't ask why, children's artwork. These cards on the bottom here are so beautiful. Again, another family that we worked for, I think they were married, 57 years. Amazing. We had a letter from the church honoring their matrimony. And on the left one is an Easter card from 1971. On the right side was a Valentine's card. I love that. You are the king of hearts in my life now and forever. So sweet, from 2014. So we went through boxes and boxes of cards from Sandy to Mark, and they were just lovely. 3 adult children. They didn't want, they couldn't take 4 boxes. They didn't live nearby. Regardless, they couldn't take 4 boxes of cards. Each child took like 1 or 2 cards, but the rest. So these are all decisions that, again, all of us have to go through. It's important to acknowledge and validate the feelings we feel during our downsizing, during the Swedish Death Cleaning. And it's good to focus on the memories, not just the items. Just as you're going through your own cards and keepsakes, it's also great to take pictures too, because of course, we'll have our iPhones and our computers, and digitizing things is also a space-saving way of keeping important mementos. So we don't have to keep 4 boxes of sentimental cards. We could take pictures of just a few of them, and they're saved in our computers. So it's a great way to keep personal items in a very small space. But it's important to handle, of course, our sentimental items. So now we're talking about the solutions. So regardless of what part of your home, another scary kitchen. This was in Armonk, New York. And again, we took everything out. And again, I was like, oh my gosh, I was going to put it in reverse. Let's say, bye-bye, you guys, it's too much work. But we did tackle it. The first step really, whether you're in your kitchen or your bedroom closets, you want to pull everything out. And now you might say, Stephanie, why are you showing me this? If I go home and do this, how are we having Saturday night dinner now? It's too messy. So what I try to say is, again, pace yourself. So if you want to work in your kitchen, maybe start with your glasses first. Just take your 2 upper cabinets, take out all of the glasses, put all the drinking glasses together, the high ones, the low ones, juice glasses, take out your coffee mugs, put them all together on your kitchen table or on an island. Just start small. And the first step is just to pull everything out. And then once you pull it all out, then you want to sort. So if we're going with our glasses, like I just said, you want to pull all the glasses together and then sort what we call like with like. All the coffee mugs here, all the drinking glasses there, the water glasses here. And then now you can look at everything in its proper category. And at that time, you can start making your decisions, what you want to keep and possibly get rid of. Here's an example of sorting, again, putting like with like in a home that we did. And this family had about 6 bedrooms. It was just a couple, the children were grown. And I think in 4 of the bedrooms, they had just rolling racks of all their clothes in 4 bedrooms. I mean, hundreds of clothes. And like I said, like all of us, myself included, they each had, a husband and wife had clothes in 3 different sizes, like many of us do. So this was the gentleman's clothes. And what we did, we took Post-it notes and we sorted everything. We took everything out. We put, you could see his undershirts, short sleeve shirts, sweatpants, graphic t-shirts, pajamas. So these are all piles by category. So no matter what you're organizing, whether it's your kitchen or your clothes, you want to sort everything really by category. And Post-it, we all have Post-it notes in our home. So Post-it notes are a great way just to tag things. So some of these shirts say, t-shirts extra large, large, and medium. So that we sort everything first. And that's really your step 2, no matter what you're working on, is the sorting. And then step 3, as we all know, is the hard part sometimes. That's when we want to make our decisions. Do we want to keep? Do we want to sell, donate, or trash? So if you want to keep it, that's great. Selling everywhere, even in Connecticut, I'm sure in Cape Cod here, there's plenty of places. We have consignment shops. If you're familiar with the Real, it's a high-end luxury company. They will buy, high-end clothing, designer names, etc., from you. At least you get money for things that you're not using, which is great. Of course, donations. There's many opportunities in the area for nonprofits that you can give your clothing and household goods to, or truly is it just trash? So this is really the hard part. So you want to pull everything out, then sort it by the category, and then you make your decisions on what you want to do, keep, sell, donate, or trash. And I said, that's really the hardest part, is making those decisions at that step 3. Some helpful products. I have these bags, which I can show you, which we love to use. If you're doing your own Swedish Death Cleaning, you can just go to your local hardware store. And of course, everyone's familiar with the regular black contractor bags. Well, the contractor bags also come in clear. And we just love to use these when we do Swedish Death Cleaning and downsizing, organizing. You can feel these. These are a thicker mill, very thick. And they're great because when you're going through your home room by room, what we do is we save the black for true garbage, and clear bags we donate for like donations or things that we can give away. So that way it's like your code in your own home. Honey, don't bring that, that's not that, this is not garbage. We're going to bring that to Goodwill or a local nonprofit. So it's an easy way for you to do in your own home. It doesn't have to be these bags. Of course, you can just use your own garbage bags, just put even with a Sharpie on it, donate, just write it on the bag. But it's good to have a little code you can use in your own home. And then we also love to use colored tape, which is very helpful because color tape is, again, another tool. And again, you get this at your local hardware store. Of course, Amazon has color tape. And what we do is great when we use color tape in your home for Swedish Death Cleaning. You can go through, and again, just similar to a Post-it note, you can tag, say you have 2 children, John and Sarah. If you're going to go through your home and to donate things for your children, pink can be for Sarah and blue can be for John. And you can say, okay, this table is going to John. That chair, put pink on it, that's for Sarah. You can notate things in your own home. You could also we use green, colored green tape for donations. That can be for green for donations. Red we usually typically use for true garbage. So it's a simple way, inexpensive. You can go through your own homes just using colored painter's tape, and it doesn't damage your wood or your things in your house. It won't do any damage to your things. You can put a small square of tape, kind of like your code, who's going to what child or what family member or what friend, what's going to be thrown out, maybe given to haulers to take away, or what's going to be donated, which is great. And of course, how many of us have clear bins at our house? Many of us use that. I'm not sure if you're familiar for storing things. The bottom right picture is actually a weather-tight bin. And you can kind of see there's like a foam around the lid there. Weather-tight bins are great for storing more important documents like paper documents or even your photos because they're weather-tight. So it keeps the humidity, dampness out of the box, out of the bin. So those are also a helpful product that you can use during the process. Some action steps. It's great when you're talking about Swedish Death Cleaning to, oh, do you have a question? Yeah. Oh, the bins you can get really anywhere, your local hardware store, your big box chains, like your Home Depot, your Lowe's, even, of course, Amazon has them. We like to always cost conscious for our, personally, but also for our clients, of course. So we try to get the cheapest ones. Even Walmart, we often buy them at Walmart, your Kmart stores. So really any of the big boxes are great. Those bins, like I said, they're so useful because it keeps the humidity out of those important documents. They come in, great questions. They come in multiple different sizes, from small to large. So depending on your needs, you could get one that, you know, accommodates what you're doing, your children's artwork, etc. I haven't ever seen that actually, but that's a good question. I haven't seen them in that format, but even maybe perhaps Staples might have something like that. Perhaps Staples, but that's great questions, great questions. So like I said, it's important to start early, where the Boy Scouts say, be prepared, plan ahead. We want to begin your planning process well in advance, create a timeline, and it's great to inventory and declutter. Take an inventory of all your possessions as you begin the Swedish Death Cleaning, the decluttering process. And one thing of course, we all know really, it's great to organize all your important documents. In our home, a few years ago, I didn't think about it, I don't know why, but a few years ago, we gathered all of our medical records, birth certificates, wedding certificates, insurance paperwork, and wills. And it's great to have that kind of like as a go-to file, just in case for emergencies, all the family members, all their important documents in one folder. It's a great way to have everything neatly organized for you and your family members as well. Yes, of course. And of course, I have so many passwords. My husband's like, Stephanie, I have like a hole in my desk this high stack of all of my passwords. You know, we have so many things, all these websites and all these passwords. So even the home organizer has a stack this high of passwords. If someone breaks into our house, they're going to have access to everything. It's right in front of my desk. Great. Also, if you're moving or planning a transition, it's great to plan the new space layout, making sure all the furniture fits, etc. If you're Swedish Death Cleaning before a move, also packing thoughtfully. And we always say label, label, label. We always err on the side of more labeling as opposed to less. It's always helpful to have everything notated. And again, like I said, keep like items together when you're putting everything together and label it for ease on the other side. If you're planning on a move, try to keep everything organized that way. And even, you know, even just a black Sharpie is so easy to label things with. That's very helpful. And just our top 10 organizing tips. Again, you want to start with a gentle declutter, pace yourself, honor those emotions that come up. Like we said, take photos of the important things as you're going through your own home, your items in your own home. Again, gather those important documents. It's great to have all those items together, birth certificates, social security cards. You'd be surprised that many times we go to people's homes to help them with the Swedish Death Cleaning. And, you know, there's like, you know, the social security cards are in a junk drawer. Like, you know, these are important documents. We can't have them floating around like that. You know, it's great to have them in one spot, really. We said, respect all those sentimental items. And when you can, try to maintain with a monthly refresh. Like I said, even just take an hour on a Saturday morning, go through that coat closet. Now's a good time as we transition, hopefully, from winter to spring. We're all getting tired of wearing those heavy sweaters. But it's a great time to even go through those coat closets, your mud rooms. You know, why do I have 8 umbrellas? Maybe I can get rid of 6. So it's a great time to try to plan ahead and stay with a monthly refresh. And here's a couple, so some funny stories. Like I said, we've seen so many things. This was a funny story. Anyone familiar with New York City, 740 Park Avenue is a very fancy building, very famous building. We worked for Mr. Wing. We loved him. He was about 80 years old, God bless. And every day he wore this white beater t-shirt with these junky old shorts, but he lived in a $32 million duplex in New York City at 740 Park Avenue. And we had to help him with Swedish Death Cleaning. His wife had passed. This was a stunning, stunning apartment, 2 floors, you know, full staircase. A lot of celebrities in the building. I forget who was in there. Somebody, I think a Rockefeller was in the building. So we were there for about 2 weeks. And every day I took the train from Connecticut, and I would go like 30 minutes early with my tea And I would just sit in the lobby with all beautiful woodwork. They'd be polishing all the woodwork. I would just sit there seeing who would walk by, every morning, like maybe, I'm just like the cleaning lady, the worker here, but I just wanted to see who would walk by in the morning. And it was unbelievable. So we spent 2 weeks there. Mr. Wim kind of fell in love with him. And here I am like, oh my God, he's going to be making this amazing Asian food. What's he going to be cooking for lunch every day? He had a boiled hot dog every day for lunch. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get some tips, some great Asian recipes. I love Asian food. I can't wait to see what he's going to prepare. This is so exciting. And quite literally, it was one boiled hot dog every day for lunch. It was we were laughing, like, not to judge, but we were laughing and laughing. So Mr. Wing, I think they also had they had so many bedrooms, about 8 bedrooms, like, 3 of them were like servant size, like where the servants would, from years ago, would sleep and live by the kitchen. So they're a little bit smaller, but regardless, he had, of course, had his bedroom where he was sleeping. His wife had passed, Mrs. Wang, but she was a clothes horse. So we had, hundreds and hundreds of items of clothing to go through in the Swedish death cleaning process at their home. And are you familiar with the Real Real? So yeah, the Real Real, it's a company, it's nationwide, and you can buy things on their website as well. But it's great because you can sell things to them and get some money for your nice clothes and pocketbooks. So Mr. Wang, of course, doesn't need Hermes bags or Louis Vuitton bags, or of course, women's clothes. So we went through all of their possessions, and the Real Real, we had them come basically every day for 5 days. And they took, I think it was a record actually for them, 1,563 pieces of clothing and handbags and shoes. It was unreal. The guy was like the representative who came. He had taken Uber XL in New York City. He had taken Uber XL every day to the building, and we had to help him load up all. I think at the time it was like 5 years ago. At the time it was like a record for him. He had never seen someone. So they must have made well over 100,000. 200,000. I don't even know what they made, but watches, Cartier watches that Mr. Wing, eating his hot dog, didn't need for sure. That's for sure. Oh, we were laughing at the hot dog. So it was so funny. And he was the nicest man. But it was unbelievable. So, like many of us, they waited until the end. And, certainly she never, she didn't use all those. They were stored in high, up these high closets that they wouldn't even reach for years. She even had like makeup, like Maybelline makeup, like mascara. I guess like some people buy things in bulk, but they find a product that they like. She even had all this mascara. I think from like the 60s. Like, oh my, like, is this toxic right now? We just threw that out, but it was hysterical. So we had a great time, but that was Mr. Wang. That was a really, really funny experience. And another funny one I love to talk about is the High Boy. And this was another great building. Is anyone familiar? This is, oh my God, the Dakota. Also, yeah, yep, you guys know it. Beautiful. So again, I was so excited. I came home to my family. I'm like, guys, I made it to the big time. We're working in the Dakota again. So here I am with my little hat, and we're just workers. We're not there for social call, of course. So I have to go in the workers at service entrance with the rest of the workers. You see, they're carrying the paint. We go in the basement, not the proper front door. But it was so much fun every day. So again, we were there for 2 weeks. Mrs. Tompkins had passed away. So we're trying to do Swedish death cleaning for her family, her adult children. And like many cases, no, the children don't live nearby. They don't live in New York City. So they hired us to come in. Some, I think one daughter was in Pennsylvania, one was in Maryland. So we had to come in to really just to do the Swedish death cleaning on behalf of the adult children. So every day we walk in the servants' entrance, and it's such a funny story that they had a High Boy, a beautiful, tall wooden bureau that Mrs. Tompkins had all of her clothing in. So our team was in there, we're packing up all the things using the clear bag right there, all her sweaters, tons of sweaters, putting them all in the clear bags for a local Housing Works, which is a nice agency that helps homeless people give them clothes, packing everything away. And we start getting to the undergarments now, hosiery, bras, underwear, socks. And what do we come upon? A treasure. We hit gold, all jewelry, diamonds, current exchange, foreign exchange, hidden amongst the socks and the undergarments. We couldn't believe it. We had to call up the children, I forget their names, Sarah. Like, Sarah, we found all your mom's jewelry. Were they not looking for it? Maybe they found some other pieces. We took it all out, put it all in a box for them, and we shipped it to them. But we find some of the craziest things. It was unbelievable. But had we not gone to look through that would have gone I guess, to the Housing Works. I mean, I guess they would have used it. I guess they it still would have been nice. They would have sold it, and that money would have gone to help homeless people. But still, it was nice that the family was able to get, the mom's things for sure. And this is a funny one too. Pies. This is my son Nicholas, our middle boy. So he graduated Indiana University last May. So he's getting his first apartment. He moved to Dallas, Texas, too far from mom. But anyways, I said how organized I am in our home. So as we got new things in our own home, my husband and I, we put things aside. We have 3 children, knowing, the children would need things when they hopefully left the nest and got their own places. So I had a little spreadsheet of all the things. So here's Nicholas moving to Texas, Dallas. And I text him at work. I'm like, oh, Nicholas, here's all the things that mom has saved. I'm so organized that I have saved for you in your new apartment. And you can see, holy crap, I'm not baking pies every day, mom. I don't think I need that much stuff. So even Nicholas, no, the 22-year-old does not want a set of 8 floral dinner plates. Hello. So even the organizer has too much stuff. I thought I was going to help my children and save things for them. He did take a few things, just the plain white mixing bowls. But we all I know exactly. That's what he wants. Just give me the brandy glasses. Like, Mom, I don't want a large Le Creuset. What is that? He doesn't even know what that even is. Nicholas, aren't you making chili tomorrow night? You're 22 years old. So it's so hysterical. I love that little I had to say that's so fun. Not baking pies every day. Certainly he's not making pies every day. Anyways, thank you all very much. Follow us on Instagram. Anyone have any questions or any comments?